Hello, good morning, guys. Good morning in India, good afternoon in England, good evening in and bedtime in sleeping time in East Coast. Welcome you all. Today is I'm just going to review my book that they have written. Just I'll let you decide. But we have a great reviews on this book. It's a very conversational English I've written because my first language is not English, as you know. But I became first language. I started. So even if it is a first language, yours, your writing is different. It comes with experience. You have to learn how to converse. And I learned from people like Peter Demandis and how to communicate in a conversational style. I love it. Thanks for the Peter Demandis, SpaceX founder. Um, it is really interesting how um, this book came into existence for me. You know, I was writing for a long time, all my ideas, and think about history, and I want to write different things. And then I came back. I'm going to explain to you in the book itself. So science is not a subject. Science must be lifestyle. I don't know how it works, but I hope it works the way. Um, if I flip it, I hope I can see that or not. Yes, good. So, so science is there's a long title. Science is not a subject. Science must be a lifestyle. We should not. Science should be practical. Understand that there's a story behind it. And Bill Gates said that one time. If you know about scientists and their life story, then you understand the continuation of the science itself. So I think science must be. It's we have to incorporate into lifestyle rather than some kind of a subject we have to learn. So that's my attempt. But in this book, I have a master's in physics, as you know, and then nuclear engineering. I did in Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma, and I didn't complete it in computer science in Montreal, Canada. So I have a lot of study. I did a lot of studies here and there, but I got exposed to different subjects. And I spent the last 30 years in healthcare. I ran, imaging center, diagnostic center. I placed a lot of doctors, and then I designed cardiology and radiology workflows. I designed a MedBricks platform. So I did quite a bit of in healthcare. So healthcare is, to be honest with you, sometimes I regret why I'm in healthcare because if I would have been stayed with the computer science, I would have been one of those richest guys. But unfortunately, I loved healthcare. My father is a big inspiration for that. My father is a teacher in a small village in India, very rural, extremely rural. I tell you, we don't have electricity. We didn't have electricity. We didn't have running water. Okay, we didn't have a hospital or clinic. There's some kind of a local doctor, one just non-existent clinics. Healthcare is basically non-existent. My father is the English teacher, and he was a very curious man. He loved to read all the times. Think about that. He was reading non-stop. So he got interested in medicine. So he started reading a lot of books. I never seen him without reading a book. He is that much. Uh, uh, he was that much into the books. In fact, so medical books, medical journals. At that time, we are getting medical journals from Indian magazines and all. He was. My mother used to complain. He's spending all of half of his salary on the books. But and my grandfather is another grandfather's brother was practicing medicine in different parts of that village. Different village. It's like a 10 miles. It's called Wundi. My village is called Palakoderu, a small town. Out of a small town, it is a small village around a small town, around the small town. And my father's um, my grandfather's cousin used to practice, like 10 miles away from that place. So I used to tag along with my father in the weekends and go, and my father used to learn how to do injections and all those things from my grandfather's cousin, my grandfather, you know. Then he started practicing here. He was teaching this English teaching. English is, he was very strict about, whenever I write letters from, from America, he used to circle around red circles and then send me back. He's very strict about the grammar and all those things. So you will be really unhappy that I wrote a book. He's happy that I wrote a book, but it's not a grammar is not a number one choice there. Sorry about the dad. But my dad is a, so he helped. He had nothing, and he was a school teacher. He made a salary of a school salary, that is small amount, and then he started treating people in that small village. He became a kind of official doctor for that town. He was treating so many people without no charging nothing. He charging, and he was doing injections, and he was self-taught. He's an amazing, and he learned quite a bit. I was surprised he can meet any challenges of the present day MDs even at this time. I can tell you that he's very strongly disciplined in education wise. He was. So money wise is not good. Money is not that good. My mother was always complaining. He never makes money. That is helping people. But it is what the true profession of loving a profession, that is your true love. People that sacrifice those silently serve those people. You know it is an amazing. They are the ones who did the. They didn't have any big degrees, or they don't have anything. They're just helping small people in rural village. That is amazing, right? I mean, people who he didn't have anything. He's serving people who had. We also had nothing in there. We had also nothing, so he's serving them. That is it's a tribute to my father. This book. There's a lot of testimonials. A lot of doctors and scientists and gave me testimonials. Dr. Japra from California, Silicon Valley. There's three executives, two people from Silicon Valley. Dr. Japra and Chani Bengali is a theoretical physicist, PhD in theoretical physics from Columbia, and then Brandon Kriegel is my son's classmate, and he's a Harvard graduate. He gave a testimonial, and Dr. Shalil is a dean of is professor in Nova Southern Medical School in Miami, and he's also president of a healthcare company. And Dr. Mark Kishel is a former chief medical officer for the Blue Cross Blue Shield. So they gave great reviews. Thank you all for that wonderful review. I have video. If you want to watch that video, I don't know whether you can see that video or not, but I will play it there at the end. Actually, that video. That is on the top is my daughter. she's getting engaged tomorrow. She's giving 40. She lives in California, San Francisco. So these are the subjects that I went through. These are all look like a disjointed subjects, but they're all connected. I did a very strong emphasis on healthcare side because my background is healthcare and I have physics background. I wanted to connect the mathematics and physics and then how you relate to the healthcare. That's what this book is goal is. It's not teaching medicine, teaching history, teaching physics. It's connecting those dots. That's what it helps the innovation. It fuels the innovation in my view, understanding the different subjects. So Paul Dirac is the first one. This is I had the largest number of hits on the LinkedIn and other places. He was the he was inventor of the positron. Positron is a positive particle they use in the PET scanner, positron emission tomography detect cancer and tumors in the body, and then they use for Alzheimer detection, all those things. They use a they use this as a functional device. Is a functional device. Is a PET scan is it is a positron emission tomography. Positron, where does positron comes from? That's what I explained. Positron is actually when the universe was born, it splits into two, and one is antimatter and antimatter. Other is a matter. Matter is just the atoms like that we have in our body. There's a protons in the nucleus, and then electrons moving around. In the nucleus, protons and neutrons are there. The negative charge electron moving around the atom. In the in the antimatter world is exactly opposite. Is the antiproton, and then electron is a positively charged there. You know, that's the antimatter. You will be surprised that there will be, we don't know where that anti gone, but if there is, if it is, there will be anti-earth, anti-you. So, but it's like meeting someone in the mirror, is watching you in the mirror, and in the mirror, the person is different than you are, and you don't want to meet them, because that whenever matter and antimatter meets them, is nothing but a destroy. A huge force comes out, so it's dangerous, So you don't want to meet that evil twin. But the positron, that's the beginning of the universe. There is a positron. There's antimatter there, positrons, antiprotons, anti-atoms, and all those things there. Hydrogen is a positive in the positive in the center, and the electron going around. Other way around is a proton, and then positive electron going around. But in all the other laws may work in the same way as here. We don't know exactly, but it may work similar way. But he gave the Paul Dirac is a British physicist. He wrote an equation. Long he wrote equation in 90. It was 1930s. He wrote equation, but he kept it. But he could not believe there is a universe, or there is a place the anti-electrons, anti-protons, and anti-matter will exist. He could not convince himself, so he kept it under the table. And then 3 years he checked it and checked it. He was not a big talker. It's very few words. Every they call him one word for every hour. He doesn't speak that much. That doesn't speak that much. So, but he checked it and eventually published it as paper in 1929. That he published the positron existence of the antimatter, and he gave equation to the positron. He gave equation to the antimatter. That is the equation that you see in the place. So that positron is the first one recognized the positron existence, and positron is a Paul Dirac physicist. He eventually moved to Florida. Florida State is where he's, even though he got offers from Princeton, Stanford, everywhere, he did not select. He went to Florida, Tallahassee State University, Florida, in Tallahassee, because his daughter was working there. But he died. They put in his tombstone. They put his equation there in British England, Westminster, and also in Tallahassee, Florida. So that is the birth of the positron emission tomography. We can detect cancers. They use a CT. It's a functional thing, and it will detect the cancers and tumors. And that is the physics of the behind this. They use a detector, circular detector, to use that to detect cancer and tumor. When the positron goes inside our body, when you take an injection, they give uh, a radioactive pharmaceutical similar to glucose, and you take it with a tagged with a pharmaceutical radio source, and it transmits, and then it emits the positron in the brain goes inside, or positron, and you take it, it goes, and then cancer cells like more, they'd like to consume more glucose, and they consume, eventually they produce more positrons, and positron interacts with the electron and produce energy. That you can take a picture of that. That is the whole Paul Dirac thing. The next one is Avicenna. I call him. So we every chapter we have a T-shirt And barcode, you can see, you can check the barcode. You can, is in the Amazon, available in Amazon. You can buy that T-shirt, Paul Dirac with the stethoscope there, and is a positron PET scan in the left side, and then his equation on the left side. So you can take a picture of this barcode. It will state directly, takes you to the Amazon store, and then you can purchase the T-shirt. Or if you want to go to Etsy, there is a Etsy there. You can buy cups, coffee cups, and all those things. They're all in the bottom and up there. The next is Avicenna. Avicenna is an Iranian guy. He was a 980, I think. 90 is a 980, like a 10th century physician. He's a doctor. He was the first one. He is the Einstein of medicine. I call him Einstein of medicine because he's a brilliant for his times. He was he was using already calcium channel blockers at that time. I call him first cardiologist because he was using the calcium channel blockers. There is a medicine, a plant is called Zernab. He wrote a book on cardiac diseases, first book on cardiac diseases, and then he understood the pulse. Pulsology is a big thing during that time. Then he wrote several books. Canon of Medicine is a 10-volume book. He has written a book on it, and then he mentioned about calcium channel blockers. Actually, they found that same botanical name with a different name in the it mentioned there. So he wrote that right now that they found out that the plant that is using Zernab has they found out that name. You can use this Texas bucks. I think I'm saying right. Sorry about that. If I'm not a botanical guy, but I'm trying my best. Texas, that is called basically a plant name. It produces same thing as Zernab. It contains Zernab, so they're using the calcium channel blocker capabilities. That same thing what he found out. So I call him first cardiologist, and then he wrote a books, and then his books were 1,000 years. All the students around the world are using it at that time. 1080 to another 1,000 years, they were using his books. Is that he was a very popular physician and well known. He wrote several books on the ethics of the medical ethics. Very strange. You can give a master class on medical ethics actually. So I did an article on him, and then you can read it. You can buy coffee cup there or T-shirt. That's what you do there. The next one is Richard Feynman is a American theoretical physicist. If you watch Big Bang Theory, his name was mentioned several times. His lectures are phenomenal. He is a quantum physicist. So he always says that the nature is not a classical dynamic. He says that nature is a quantum. Quantum means, I wanted to explain simple terms for doctors and medical people. Quantum means you think about two things. It's like a superposition and a quantum entanglement. I will explain what superposition is. If your child has two gloves, okay, and you take your hand gloves on the, winter time, you have a leather gloves. He takes one glove, put in one box, hiding from you, and then he takes another glove, put in another box, suppose two boxes, and then you don't know which box it is in, and you closed it, and then you were looking for it to get out, and you wanted your gloves back. So the it's called, so I'm explaining you superposition, what a superposition is. So it is, so in that position, um, so if you find a box, if you open it, you find a left hand glove there, glove, sorry, left gloves, two gloves. So left hand glove, you find it, automatically you know the other box has a right hand glove. That's called correlation. Okay, so it is very good. That is not a superposition. Superposition is things can exist in the same system, eh, multiple states. So until you open it, that that box doesn't know which hand it contains, either left hand or right hand. It will reveal itself at the when you open the box. Until that, it doesn't know itself. So a system, superposition is not a correlation. It is something that is, we don't know what it is. If it is left hand, then it can assume without any preference, either left hand or right hand glove. Then when you open it, so when you open it to the first, if it is a left hand glove, the other box is going to be right hand glove. When you If it is right hand glove here, the other box is automatically left hand. That is, they don't need to communicate each other. But how do they know they communicate each other? That's a mystery still. That's called quantum entanglement. How do they? It comes out of the quantum entanglement comes out of the superposition, because when you open this box, until the last second, that is confirmed by experimentally. So how do I can tell you how do they prove that in mathematically, for example, you know, I don't want to go into long discussion, but superposition is a position, it assumes at the last second when before you open the when you open the in the box. That's called as Schrodinger's cat experiment. The cat is dead and alive same time, both same time. So that is, I'm going to explain you Schrodinger cat. But what you that is Richard Feynman was very character. He's a character. He liked the strip club in Pasadena when he was working as a professor there. He used to go there quite often. He used to write on the drinking mats all the equations, all the drink mats. Um, so when he was the Los Angeles County wanted to close that strip bar because they that's the became they wanted to close the strip bar. So he went an official testimony he gave. There is nobody gave official testimony. He's the only theoretical physicist gave an official testimony on behalf of the strip club that he wants to remain it open as a strip club, fully nude or whatever, so topless. But he was thinking at that time, he wanted to think about computers. He is thinking of putting, I don't know what he's watching, but he wanted to put the encyclopedia on the tip of the pin. He can store all the tip of the pins. I don't know what is he watching, but so that idea, he wanted to simulate quantum computer on the classical computer. On the So then he realized the quantum system is like a superposition system. Quantum entanglement you wanted to simulate on the classical computer, and which is not possible. Then he realized it's not possible. Quantum system needs to have our own. They have their own system and have to have own computer. That's why quantum computing is becoming a very hot topic. Google, Microsoft, IBM, they're all fighting. So 50 qubit, they call qubit is the if a bit is a one and zero, qubit is either one and zero is a qubit, one or zero. Here is a one and zero same time in the qubit. So I'll give you an example of how that works. One and zero. If you find in a classical system, if you find a electric switch, you want to turn on the light, you need to know two positions, on and off. You cannot you turn it on, turn off. You got to know two positions, on and off. In quantum system, is only one. You don't have to do both. That is a quantum system. You know, that's a strange part of the quantum mechanics. So the that's why he famously said that if nobody understands quantum physics, that's what he said. Famous quote from him. But I explained whenever you think about quantum physics, think about a quantum superposition or a quantum entanglement. Superposition is things that can exist in multiple states same time, same place, same time, and everything. So the related to quantum biology is a new field is coming up. For example, our nose has only 400 receptors. So, but we can differentiate the smells up to 10,000 smells. The reason is they think that it is a possible we have a quantum tunneling process is happening in the smell. Smell, people remember smell for a long time, more than, I used to eat in a restaurant in India, small village, my village. After 40 years, I went to one of the doctor's houses, and then he served that same chutney. And then I just exactly 40 years after that, I remember the smell of that chutney. So that is a very, we have this quantum tunneling process happens. Quantum biology is a new field and it's emerging, and that is a Leonard Susskind is very Susskind is a Leonard Susskind is a Stanford professor. He is like, for physics people, he's like a father of everybody. He's like a god for us, and I was happy to meet him. Then the next is Emily de Chatelain. She is a very interesting character. She is a sex bomb. She loved men. She used men. She said that I'm not going to invest my emotions with the men. Just I'm going to use them. so so what is special about her is she loved science, math and science. And then she is from France, and she was during the Newton was still alive during her time. She was challenging the Newton's equation, and then one of the equations is squared law squared. When you stop something, that the force is, it's not a proportional, it is a squared. The squared idea came from her, actually. She confronted the even Newton about it. Newton, after that, changed his formulas, mc squared. That's what it. So E is equal to mc squared. Even Einstein borrowed that concept from her. She had four children. She translated Principia Mathematica of Newton's into French. Still is a standard textbook today. She loved so much science. Besides men, she loved men. But besides that, she got pregnant at the age of 40. At those times, at the age of 40, is like a death sentence almost. She knows that it is a final days for her the moment she got pregnant. So what happened was, she wanted to finish the Principia translation. She did it. At the last pages of she's finishing up, and then she slumped on her desk, and then on the pages of Principia translation. And while baby is in its newborn baby was there next to her, she delivered the baby, newborn baby, and she died. A remarkable woman, love of science. I it is, you should see that. That's people like that. She has a lot of money. She came from rich family. She built a whole library in a chateau near Paris, outside of Paris. So she's a remarkable woman. Then, she used to sneak into men's Chatelain name. She used to sneak into men's scientific sessions. She used to dress as a man because they don't allow any woman. She used to dress as a man, and then wanted to get into this school. There is a play by Atlanta native Gunderson. Lauren Gunderson is a very funny play. You got to see that play. In San Francisco, played for a long time. Emily Duchatelet play. So that's a very very interesting play. So you can buy the T-shirts from on this one, from Amazon, or you just shoot it at the your camera there in the bar. You will know. You can buy this book on the Etsy. This is a Dr. Subrov is a very personal to me. He's like my father's. He's the same name as my father. He's from same town as my my father and me. We are born in the same. I was born in the same place. Um, he is um, he is a very interesting character. 1923, he came to Harvard. Um, he's a remarkable person. He could not pass high school. Three times he failed. He was not interested in school at all. Then eventually he went to the medical school in India, in Madras Medical School, when still we are under British rule at the time. So he went to the Madras Medical School, and then he did this. Then he came to Harvard. Then he finished Harvard. Then he did a series of inventions. He deserves four Nobel Prizes, not one. I tell you honestly, the total discrimination is a sad story of him. Nobody recognizes him in India. Even my hometown people don't know about him. I don't know him, and I'm from the same village. I'm from the same town. I went to the same school as he did. I went to same street he was walking in. I went to the same temple he went to, but I didn't know his name. Okay, Siri Stan, and he had the same name as my father. He kind of find might be related to us. But the story of him is that he came to States, and then his inventions are one after the other. You put the strip testing. He's the first invented the strip test for the phosphor. That is to the content of the phosphor in the body. That he invented the first phosphor strip test. The second one, a color test at the time. He got a PhD in biochemistry from Harvard. He was teaching there, and then they discriminated him quite a bit at the time. It is a total tragic story of him. Um, uh, then then he went to do the. Then I will talk with him about more extensively in the next session some other time. But I'm going to give a brief. He invented the methotrexate. It's the first cancer chemotherapy drug for the leukemia, for a child's leukemia, because that is the first targeted drug. It's a chemical analog of the folic acid with another Farber or Faber or some guy. They worked with him. He produced it. Everybody stealing his inventions left and right. He was in the Ledal laboratories. So they didn't give him a tenure. He moved on to the Ledal, I think, laboratories. He moved there, and then he started inventing tetracycline. First broad spectrum tetracycline antibiotics he invented. He discovered. So with the Benjamin Dugar, along with the Alabama-born Benjamin Dugar, he hired Benjamin Dugar. Nobody wants to hire him. He's 70 years old at the time. He's too old, they said. And but that Subrao thought his experience counted. He hired him. They together discovered the tetracycline automycin, that first broad spectrum antibiotic. So then you found heterogen tablets, for example, is a snowflake drug. I'm from India. India has a lot of tropical diseases. One of them is a pulmonary snowflake lung disease. That he found the tablets. The cure for that, treatment for that one is called is now it is really, all these drugs are listed in the World Health Organization essential drugs. So it's remarkable. Nobel Prize Committee eh, discriminated him. Harvard discriminated him. His professor is in the Wikipedia. He was hiding his papers not to publish. It is just a sad story, tragic. In 1953, he died in his sleep. Before he became really famous, and the Jewish advocate said that a simple one magazine said that because he lived longer. That's what he said. What the magazine said. He's a remarkable man, Dr. Subbarao. I'm proud he's my hometown, unsung hero of my hometown. Florence Nightingale. The next one is Florence. Then you can buy his T-shirt and everything. Make his name is like a Smith kind of name. Subbarao means, but I want to make his name most popular and famous. This you can take your iPhone or Android phone, put it there, camera. It will take you to the Amazon store directly. You can buy these things, Amazon or Etsy. The cups and all those things. The next is Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale is a remarkable woman, as you know. Actually, there is a now is a relevance. She went to do there was Russia is trying to fight on Ukraine is not a first time. This has happened before in Crimea. In Crimea. In Crimea, what happened was the Ukrainian large number of ethnic Ukrainians live in Crimea. So Russia wants to take over. At the time, it was a part of the Ottoman Empire, and then so there was a British people defending the Ottoman Empire. So they sent the troops, the British and Britain and France. send the troops to defend off the Crimea from Russia. So they were fighting Russians in the during the this is war, Crimean War, Crimean War. You know, so this war between the Russia and Ukrainian, for the Ukrainian population, uh, Ukrainian side of the population, the British and the France are supporting them. They went to war. There's large casualties. You know, 500,000 people died during that war. You think about 19 1800s, right? I get confused about these dates sometimes, history, but it is it is before the First World War. So Florence Nightingale is a no. She is actually, people don't know about this. She's a statistician. She's a mathematician first, and she has a love for mathematics. She loved data. So she was a nurse also. She got trained in nursing, and then she went there and set up a. She's from a rich family. She set up the hospital in the Istanbul, right across Crimean Black Sea, Crimea. That right across Crimea, she set up a hospital, and then first black nurse also, Mary Seal, went there to help her. That's another one is an interesting story. But she is a prolific public health researcher. She used a lot of the statistical data to prove ventilation reduces the infection rate. The actually Scientific American magazine recently gave a tribute to her, publishing a paper. She's the first architect of hospitals, for example. That's what they said. She is a remarkable woman in that, besides that, everybody says she's a lady with a lamp. That's a very trivial way of putting her, but she is a really educated. She understood mathematics and data, particularly data, prolific public health researcher. She used to she created a pie chart. She did not invent exactly pie chart, but she made it popular. She's the first one who brought she used to use a pie charts to explain the British soldiers system, why she improved it by doing these ventilations and the supply chain, all those things. And she used to say that to the Queen Elizabeth, the Victoria, sorry, Queen Victoria. So she was getting funding because that she was presenting all this data, new data kind of things to her. And she's the travel medicine. She was medical tourism. She's the first one who coined that idea. She used to send from to people from Switzerland to Turkey, because it's cheaper, it says. So she was a medical tourism, first mother of medical tourism, in my view. So everybody just minimize her as a lady with a lamp. She's remarkable. She's a public health researcher. The American Statistical Society president went there to meet her. That's an honor to honor her. That's a great woman in that sense. So she's a prolific public health researcher and a nurse also. Happened to be a nurse. Then Mary Curie, everybody knows, she's also, everybody thinks Mary Curie is a scientist, but she definitely is a great scientist. But she's a feminist, first class feminist in my view. She is a fundraiser, prolific fundraiser, entrepreneur. So she did a lot of work in X-ray. She's among all the people that you see in the picture there, and she's the only woman, lone woman, a soul genius, the soul of a genius. She's a lone woman in the man's world. She was the only scientist, among all the sea of men. And I don't know how she survived. I tell you, remarkable woman. And she first mobile X-ray trailer. First medical trailer was designed by Mary Curie. People don't know about this. That is a Petite Curie. This called. It is a small buggy in the First World War, and all this because that she put X-ray there, X-ray unit there. So she created a small mobile X-ray units there, and then she actually, you can see the first X-ray bullet. That picture. In fact, I think I did it. I don't know whether it is. Yeah, somewhere there in the first picture of the bullet, um, X-ray thing in the lungs, in the when he was larger in the lungs. It is so she, when nobody is giving her money, and the French military was slow in giving her money, she went to all the women in the Paris, a woman of a famous woman of Paris, and she collected money, and she created 20 tailors. She got donation from all of them, and then she hired 20 technicians as X-ray operators, first to trained X-ray operators. She's a mother of, she's a definitely mother of techs, radiology techs, in my view. So we need to honor her. That is the next is CV Raman spectroscopy. He is just what he discovered is mind-boggling. This when light falls on you, I can able to see you because 99.9% of the reflection comes back to me, so I can see you. But this small portion of the light, small part of light, interacts with my body, in the cells in the body, and then they interact with it and comes back. That what he discovered is called Raman scattering, but very tiny amount. That scattering, you can detect the vibrational rotational spectrum, and can say the cancer cells by just clicking the picture on you, by tell you that whether somebody has a cancer or not. That's Raman scattering. But the amount is so low at that time. It was not popular because of that did not become until laser came out, ultraviolet rays, all those things that you're using now. Raman is a center of innovations now. CV Raman is everywhere. He is right now, his innovation, Raman spectroscopy, is using in that scattering to find out the biological life in Mars. Is a Raman spectrometer they're using on Mars right now. Perseverance rover. It is checking the Perseverance rover there. So it is now is contour the cancer cells. You to use a Raman spectroscopy is much easier with the gold nanoparticles and everything. You can read all those things. But it's more important thing is, a lot of churches were, during the Christian era time. He was a Hindu, but he helped his a discovery helped to remodel the churches from 1300 and 1200. There is a church in the Spain. It was kind of with the rituals. It all degraded. They don't know original architecture and the colors. So Raman spectroscopy went there, and then take a pictures of that. Take the Raman vibrational rotation spectrum of these materials, and then came back with the original architecture. So because of that, they restored the original architecture. Roman the architecture. They restored the churches. Several churches were done through the Raman spectroscopy. So he is everywhere. Theology, medicine, engineering, name it, he is there. That is, you have to read about it and have a story on him, and so you can buy his shirt, and then on his coffee cups and everything there on EC. It's c.slash daily wear for medicine. One word. Ji Hong is a really uh, is a master pharmacologist in my view. Okay, uh, is a fourth BC. Is a sorry, fourth AD. That is a. Did I say that? I think I hope I'm doing right numbers here. So Chairman Mao, 1967, he was a he was one of a warmonger. He loves wars. So he was cultural revolution. He did not like smart people. He did not like doctors, scientists. He put them in the labor camps, all the doctors and scientists in China. So there is a North Vietnam in 1967. There was a fight in Vietnam. Vietnam War started, and then all his soldiers and North Vietnamese soldiers are dying, in the fields because of the malaria. So then all his general convinced him, we need the doctors to find out what's going on, and then we need to find out what's going on, and we need to bring him back, some of the doctors back. So they brought back some of the doctors. Her name is one of the doctors in that. She's not a doctor, sorry. So the scientists and doctors, they wanted to bring it back, but they wanted to bring one person back. She's not a scientist, not even a. She's kind of a scientist, but not a lot of background in science. A little bit. She has a scientific background, but she's not like a PhD or anything. And then her name is Yu Tu Yu Yu. Her name is Tu Yu Yu. She is a so Mao recruited her because she understood the traditional Chinese medicine, all the traditional. So she went back into these uh, Chinese traditional books, Chinese traditional medicine books. Then she discovered that there is a one drug. There is a pharmacologist. His name is Ji Hong. He's a physician, Ji Hong in 4th AD. That he was using a particular drug, Kui Hong, a plant-based drug. Is a grass basically widely grown in China and everywhere. He is using that drug to treat this malaria. It is not called malaria at the time, intermittent fevers, but what they did was he was treating them with this plant, and she went through it, and then so the medical Chinese medical authors misunderstood that writings, and they're putting in hot tea, or they're putting on a hot boiled water, and and that the compound is dying. So but what she did was she took the word to word from his description of Ji Hong's description, and then she created the malaria drug. She found the compound is called optimismin. Is the compound she found it in the compound. That is what she got the Nobel Prize for that. Actually, she is not. She won the Nobel Prize in 2015. Uh, you know, but that the Ji Hong, she credited the Ji Hong, 4th century, who did this invention of this Pi Hong. So then Novartis took over the manufacturing. They gave a license to Novartis to produce the mass malaria production for the mass malaria drugs. So Ji Hong is the root cause of. He is the master pharmacologist. Yeah, there is a small town in some province up in China. Is a small village, Ji River, Ji Hong Temple. They're all Ji Peak. They're all there. You could go and visit if you are from China or if you are visiting China. So this is a fantastic thing that is a master pharmacologist, and we owe him, because his invention of malaria drugs. So to you found a Chinese. This is a validation to the traditional Chinese medicine. For a long time, it was dismissed, but it was a phenomenal validation for the Chinese medicine. You can buy the T-shirt and coffee mugs in the same place. Then I talked about Boltzmann. Boltzmann is a um, I may have to stop in a few minutes because we have to go to tomorrow. I will continue from the Boltzmann. But thank you so much in joining with me, and it is a fun. And I want to teach a lot more. We have a 150-page book. Please go on dailyware for medicine.com. If you go there, you can buy the book. It is a good gift for your children to inspire or give it a friend. These are all so much. What I did was not just giving history, connecting to the history to the present day technologies, present day inventions, present day discoveries. So I connect them. That's why inspirations come from. So it is a great gift for your children if they want to pursue anything in science or medicine. It is a really a true remarkable gift for children to inspire children. Don't give them a shoes. Don't give them all those things. Give them knowledge. This is my father. What he gave to me, I owe him. My father is a late. He died, but I owe that to him. Thank you. I'll continue this tomorrow. Tomorrow, sorry, I'm off, and we'll continue resume our operations in the 9 o'clock Eastern time. I may change the time. We are thinking about it to 4 p.m. But I wanted to accommodate the entire global audience. So I did this kind of thing. It's kind of confusing, but that is a tough part. Maybe we have to do it twice. Thank you so much. And we are coming back on Monday, 9 p.m. on the same channel. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you a lot. Bye. And go to our website, dailywareformedicine.com. Thank you.